Let me say it again in case I wasn't clear the first time. Justin Trudeau is an apologist for terror. Justin Trudeau and his government in Canada provide a safe haven, state-sponsored protection and taxpayer-funded legal shields to persons proscribed as terrorists by the world's largest democracy, India. The only thing you cannot fault the Canadian Prime Minister for is that he has a sense of humor, clearly, and he keeps reminding us of it, doesn't he? He believes right now, here's the latest from Camp Trudeau, he believes India's much more sober and reasoned response to the United States case for Khalistani terrorist Gurpatwant Pannun reflects a tonal change towards India-Canada relations as well. Well, Mr. Trudeau, this is wishful thinking of the most adolescent kind, very much in keeping with the juvenile manner in which Trudeau has conducted government business when it comes to gangsters and terrorists on Canadian soil. What Prime Minister Trudeau interprets as a tonal shift from India is actually a reminder to him of how differently India views the United States as compared to Canada. Now, diplomacy is a deeply layered issue and foreign relations have many facets, many angles, and I'm not trying to trivialize foreign relations, but India and Canada have long years of relations. But let's face it, compared to the United States, Canada is a sidelight. It's a nothing burger. It's a second thought. It's vanilla ice cream on a pavement. Trudeau hopes in his private moments that he can conflate India's measured response to the US allegations to include Canada's allegations, but Trudeau is wrong and we will not let him do that. Because India's stand is still very much the same, that Canada officially interferes in India's internal affairs, protects India-designated terrorists, is hand in glove with organized crime cells in Canada. After India threw out 40 Canadian diplomats in order to achieve consular parity, what kind of tonal shift is Trudeau hallucinating about? It's true, the US case for Gurpatwant Pannun has been received very differently here in India compared to how India reacted to the allegations from Canada. It wasn't expected, it caught India off guard. Let's admit that, but India has responded in keeping with India-US relations. The upward trajectory of relations between the two countries and the deep historic ties between India and the United States. India and Canada have extensive people-to-people ties, but it is a relationship that has been colored by Canada's past leniency towards anti-India terrorists, coincidentally by Trudeau's own father, who was Prime Minister of Canada decades ago. Now, rather than a tonal shift, India has decided to play this issue on the front foot rather than be defensive about something it has no reason to be defensive about. For instance, the Indian Prime Minister has just given an interview to the Financial Times, a paper to which the Biden administration leaked the story of the Gurpatwant Pannun assassination plot case before it was formalized in court. The Indian Prime Minister has not only reiterated India's commitment to investigate all allegations, but lobbed the ball back at the United States to say that violent extremism and terrorism isn't freedom of speech. And he's reminding the world that countries like the United States are legally protecting India-designated terrorists. He also made it a point to remind those hoping to gain from diplomatic friction that the relationship between India and the US shouldn't and couldn't be derailed. Amidst all of this comes Justin Trudeau, and he comes across as a bit of a court jester in my personal view, viewer. A wannabe heavy hitter skulking in the shadow of Canada's vastly more powerful and important neighbor, hoping some of that importance rubs off on him. Sadly, that can't ever happen. While the Biden administration's decision to embarrass India is, in my view, and the view of many others, more about leverage and pressure on India to incline itself away from Russia and more towards Washington, Canada's case is a laugh in the wind. Not only has it blown up in Trudeau's face perceptionally, diplomatically and otherwise, even his own countrymen are laughing at his wishful thinking. Trudeau isn't Biden, Canada isn't the United States, and India isn't the India of old. If Trudeau wants to stake his dignity to learn these basic truths of the new world, then we're going to leave him to it.